Mel Kiper, the big dog for the NFL draft over there at ESPN, believes that Shedeur Sanders, not only is that he a top 10 pick in this year's draft, he is saying what I've been saying, that Shedeur in 2025 will be the presumed overwhelming favorite to be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft in 2025. Let's talk about it after the bumper. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and a notification bell because we upload all the time. Now, let me go ahead and just take it over to what was on Sports Center this week. This was Mel Kiper Jr.'s top 5 or top quarterback prospects in the 2024 potential 2024 NFL draft. As you see, the presumed number 1, Caleb Williams, is right there at the top. You've got Drake May from UNC, everybody's presumed QB2 right there. And then look who done crept all the way up to number 3. None other than Shedeur Sanders of Colorado. Coach Prime's son, QB1 of the Buffs, after a 2-0 start, has crept his way all the way up to the number 3 spot, just ahead of Quinn Ewers, and then, of course, of Riley Leonard, Bo Nix, and J.J. McCarthy. Now, it's only 2 games in, and we know these mock drafts and these quarterback prospect things change all the time. And really, in a lot of people's eyes, it's who is battling for number 3. I don't get that. I don't know what Drake May has done to make people just think he's all world. But that's no offense to Drake May. I just think that Shedeur or Quinn or whoever should be able to have a chance to usurp him as the number 2 quarterback if they so choose, and if their play demands it. Caleb Williams is a stud. I'm not going to deny it. He is what he is. I'm not saying anybody's going to supplant him, but Drake May shouldn't just be a lock the way he is. And to see Shedeur climb all the way up those rankings like that is pretty spectacular. For someone, once again, that covers college football, covers HBCU football, and to know that the campaign that was put on for him last year, to see that he is getting the recognition that we all knew, we all knew how great he was last year, and to see him at number 3 is pretty good. It's awesome, actually, and it just proves to us what we knew, we knew what we saw last year, that he was one of the best players in the country, and he's proven it at that level. Now, granted, they still have 10 games left, but what I've seen through 2 games shouldn't change your opinion. It shouldn't change. If his season ended today, he should stay there, if not move up, because he's that talented. Now I'm going to actually play for you the audio. I'm not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to play for you the audio. Let me know if you can hear it, of what Mel Kiper had to say when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and his quarterback list. Let's take a listen.
Drake May, who we'll be talking quite a bit more about on upcoming editions of Monday Blitz. But speaking of, we bring in Mel Kiper Jr. now. And all right, we just talked about Sanders, ranked 3rd on your QB rankings as it stands right now. Hot start, more than 900 yards in his first 2 games. Why do you have him 3rd right now, Mel? And how high could he possibly climb?
Just in case you couldn't hear it, Michael Eaves is the narrator. He's asking Mel, why does he have Shedeur number 3, and how high can he actually climb on his list? To take a listen to what Mel had to say.
Michael, was a wait and see coming from Jackson State to Colorado. How would Shedeur Sanders, how would his team adapt? How would they perform? They've been unbelievable. Shedeur Sanders, to me right now, is a guaranteed high first-round pick. I think when you look at the way he's played at Colorado in this Sean Lewis offense, the accuracy has been unbelievable. He was at 68% at Jackson State those 2 years. He's at 77.5. Hasn't thrown an interception. He had 9 rushing touchdowns in 2 years at Jackson State. He can roll right or left. He can make accurate throws. He throws a great ball. He's unflappable. He looks like he's in control at all times. You don't know if they're up or down, how they're performing. It doesn't matter. If he stays at Colorado, we'll be talking about him next summer like we're talking about Caleb Williams right now, number 1 pick guaranteed. So he's got a decision to make. We got to be excited with everything we've seen right now of not only this football team, but particularly of Shedeur Sanders. What a quarterback he is.
Yeah, so much.
What a quarterback he is. From the great Mel Kiper. What a quarterback he is. What did you guys say, Michael? Hold on.
Hype around that team, and it starts with that quarterback there for the Buffaloes. But let's talk about the.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, he said it all. He said it all. And this is the dude that, I mean, he's just a dude. If you watch football, you can tell this dude's a good quarterback. Like, we've seen bad quarterback play at the collegiate level. We've seen bad quarterback play at the pro level. When we've seen, if you've been following me at any time, I've been saying, even at Jackson State, Shedeur's like my brother and the people who didn't watch HBCU football, like, yo, is that Sanders kid the real deal? I said, yo, he's a pro. It's just how high in the draft is he going to raise his stock? I said last year, by the end of last year, oh, he's a first round pick. He's a first round pick. And I knew going to Colorado, he'd be able to determine what part of the first round he would actually go in. And after 2 games, you see people are putting him as the the third overall quarterback in the class, which would be a top 10 pick. Now, Mel didn't stop there when talking about Shedeur. He didn't stop at just, he would be a top guy in this draft. He goes on to talk about what he could be for next year's draft.
The QB there in Texas, the mighty Quinn.
Let me skip ahead. Hold on. Where are you at, sir?
Of players we've seen so far in the first couple of weeks. And this is my man,
Hold on. Let me see if I can find where you at, Mel, talking about Shedeur. Oh, never mind. It's not working with me. But yeah, he said if Shedeur decides to come back, as you heard in the broadcast, he decides to come back, we would be talking about him next year, like we were talking about Caleb Williams this year as the presumed number 1 overall pick. Now, I've seen a couple of tweets like this. This is Swag Buzz. I like Swag Buzz. I know who he is. He puts out good content, and he tweeted this about Shedeur and Mel Kiper's recent, a draft evaluation saying how good he is. This is on 3 talking about the Mel Kiper story. And this is Swag Buzz says, I'm happy for Shedeur, but it's funny how these big platforms were fighting like crazy to downplay his talent the last couple of seasons. Now they're making posts like this. A lot of fake love going on. Well, here's the thing. You guys know I'm a SWAC guy. You guys know I support the SWAC. I support HBCU football. I still don't, like the way Coach Prime exited. You can say about me whatever you want. I still don't like it. It is what it is. It's documented. I have all my videos still up. They're not going anywhere. But part of the reason why folks like myself and others were upset with the way he was leaving is because we saw the change. Like, you saw the change actually taking place. And the number one reason why people weren't hyping Shedeur as far as a top pick in the draft last year is because he wasn't draft eligible last year. Now, if he was at Jackson State this year still, it would be different. But last year he was just a true sophomore. He wasn't draft eligible. This is the first year that he's actually able to be talked about when it comes to the draft eligible quarterbacks. That's why you see him and Caleb Williams and Quinn Ewers and Drake May and Bo Nix and all those guys on there. Shedeur can finally be talked about with those guys because he is actually draft eligible. And he plays on a platform that a lot more people see him. Let's just be honest. 7 million people tune in that week 1 game against TCU. Another, 5 or so million, maybe more. I don't know. Maybe it was 7 million again. I don't know what the numbers are for the Nebraska game, but another big number tuned in. And part of the reason they're never, and that's why the Coach Prime thing is still frustrating, but it is what it is. Part of the reason why these people, meaning the Mel Kipers and the folks with big platforms, aren't going to hype a guy from an HBCU school the way they should, whether it's Shedeur or Travis or whoever, is because when they cut on TV, see, they're cutting on to see the LSUs and the Alabamas or whoever. And when your team plays those money games against those teams and they see a score like this was Gramblin's score against LSU this past week. Like, when they see a score like this, like, they're not going to take the competition that Shedeur played serious. Grambling got beat 72-10 to LSU. And this is no disrespect to Grambling, because I love Hugh Jackson. I think he's got some good stuff going on over there. I think they're continue to build their program, but they got overmatched. And so they're not going to take you serious when scores like this are this lopsided. Okay, you say, well, LSU's a top program in the country. I get that. I totally get that. That you're absolutely right. They are one of the premier programs in the country. Maybe that's not fair to use them. Would you say Toledo is a premier program in the country? Would you say Toledo? Can you name me anybody on Toledo's roster? And when these type of scores happen, you're not going to get the same notoriety, because these are the teams that are playing the SWAC. These are the teams that Shedeur was going against. These are the teams, and when they see a 71-3 score from freaking Toledo, that's disappointing. That's a problem. And that's not going to get you the love that you want. That's not going to get you the love that you deserve. That's not going to get you the accolades and the recognition and different things like that. These are the teams that Shedeur played last year. Now, granted, they're different players, same coaches, same teams. And week one, that really kind of put him on a map where he had 500 yards. That was against TCU. TCU played in the national championship game last year. They beat Michigan last year to go to in the playoff. Now, granted, you could say there was a different TCU team, but it's the same program. The teams that Shedeur played last year are getting 70 hung on them. So they're not going to give him the same love and credit that he deserves. Even though if you have eyeballs, you could tell the dude was a pro. You could tell it. But when your teams are getting 70 hung on them, it's hard to argue with the guys that they're not going to watch and take you serious as they should when Gramblin's getting 72 hung on them by LSU, or worse than that, when Texas Southern, and once again, two teams that were on Shedeur's schedule last year, get 70 hung on them by freaking Toledo. That's a problem. And when you have certain coaches in the SWAC, I ain't calling out on names, but you know who they are, that say when they play these games against a Toledo or Vanderbilt, I get it against LSU or Alabama, but Toledo or Vanderbilt or whoever, and they say, hey, we're just going in there, not really expecting to win, but just trying to stay healthy for conference play. It's not the mindset that's going to help your kids get drafted. That's not the mindset or the mentality that's going to continue to uplift your conference. It's the mindset of the mentality that gets your guys talked about in first round discussions. It's just not. It's just not. And so, yeah, I get why they put Shedeur up there now. One, because he is actually draft eligible. And two, instead of playing a Texas Southern who gets 71 hung on them by Toledo, he's playing a TCU team that came into the game, whether we talk about last year or not, they came into the game ranked, on a Nebraska team that still is a Power 5. They play in the Big Ten. That gets you on draft boards. And unfortunately, you know, when you have those games against the Texas Southerns or the Gremlins or whoever, the guys like Mel Kiper aren't going to take you as serious as they should. And that's unfortunate. But it's also a call to the SWAC that you have to get better. Now, part of it, like I said, that goes back to that frustrating part about Deion leaving and the way that he leave and the fashion that he left. But at the same time, the SWAC has to continue to get better, because 71 getting hung on you by Toledo, that's unacceptable. That just, now the LSU thing is one thing. Toledo, that's unacceptable. FAMU had a great fight. Really should have beat. They should have freaking beat South Florida. Texas Southern getting 71 hung on them by Toledo. Nah, that ain't going to do it. And that's not going to get special talents like a Shedeur put on draft boards when he goes out there and plays against the Texas Southern, who those same scouts or same draft evaluators understand that, hey, that team gets 71 hung on them by Toledo. And that's just the nature of the beast. But all in all, Shedeur, top 10 pick right now. We've made a video about that already. And I already been on record in saying, I think he's going to stay. I think they're going to go into the Big 12 year one and dominate. And I think in the 2025 draft, we're going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders being the number 1 overall pick, along with his running mate, Travis Hunter, also being a top 5, top 3 pick in the 2025 NFL draft after having a spectacular season with Colorado in the first year of the Big 12 that I think they're going to have. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Mel Kiper Jr. believes Shedeur Sanders is one of the top prospects in the entire country at the quarterback position. My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button before you get out of here. Like, share, subscribe. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.